Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how to create your own clean, professional looking template that you can use for any lead magnets that you're going to be providing to people on your website, through your social media platforms, and that you can reuse over and over again as many times as you need to have a consistent look, but also so that you don't have to worry every time you come to create a new lead magnet. There's no blocker for you with going ahead because you've got a template. You just bung in your content, download it, and put it and make it available for your audience. So we're going to just create a simple template which has 3 main pages. The first is this title page, which will include a little bit of your branding. The second is a content page, so this would be for the main body of text that you're putting in to the lead magnet. And the last page would be a call to action page. So a page that really highlights what you want someone to do after they've read and used your lead magnet. And also just a little bit of an elevator pitch about you. Just a reminder to people who you are, what you can do for them, and why they should check you out some more. So we're going to create this fairly bland looking template, but I just wanted to show you as a quick example how I've taken this initial template and customized it for myself. Just by adding a few different things can really make it your own. So in this one, you'll see that I've added my brand colors, which are the yellow and the dark blue. I could also have popped on my logo, but I've chosen just to put on my website address. And then further down, I've started bunging in a little bit of the content onto one of the pages, and by just easily playing around with the content blocks that were in that template, I've created a couple of different look and feel for some pages that go afterwards. So we'll also just quickly look at how you can create some of these elements that go onto the page, so these text elements, and also this kind of question and answer kind of elements, which you can then reuse if you're wanting people to download and print and then kind of fill it in for themselves. Also in the call to action, you can be specific about where you want to send people, and in Canva you can link up, no problem. So you can pop a link in here so that when you download it as a PDF, your readers will just have to click and they'll be taken directly to where you want them to go. And also just popped in my photo, just a little bit of a recognition there for people to know who is actually providing them with all this awesome content. Okay, so we will just quickly now start creating that for yourself, but just as a reminder, when you are creating your template, just want to make sure that you include your own branding so that there's a visual recognition for people when they download your lead magnet, that you include your contact details so that they know how to get in contact with you down the track. Not everyone will use the lead magnet straight away. Some people might download it, print it off, leave it lying around in their office, come back to it later and want to use it. It's great for them to know who gave it to them, and how to get in contact with you again at a later stage. And also you always want to include a call to action on anything, any content you create. Don't leave people hanging. Tell them what to do next and they're more likely to go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're going to design our template in Canva today. If you haven't used Canva before, it's an awesome tool. I'd definitely recommend checking it out. I'm just using the free version of Canva here today, so everything that we're doing you'll be able to do regardless of which version of Canva you have. So from the home page of Canva, just go into the designs that they have there rather than choosing your own custom, because we're just wanting to use just a basic A4 page here. So we'll just click on that one to open a new template for us. One of the great things about Canva is that they have a whole heap of layouts and templates already pre-made for you. So you could go ahead and browse through what they've got down the side here. You'll notice these ones that have the little scrolly or the little drop down kind of thing, they'll have a couple of pages that have already been designed in a layout that might suit you. So definitely go ahead, see those two are there branded the same. Some of the other ones, if they've got that little scrolly, just have a look and see if they suit you already. Otherwise, we're just going to design over here on the right hand side our own template, which will just be a really basic design that we just saw before. And you can use either it just as a one pager, so just drop off that title page and just use one of the content pages if you just have shorter lead magnets, or you can certainly go ahead and keep the title page, and I'd always want to keep that call to action page as well. But if you have multiple pages in your lead magnet, so it will kind of expand for you as you go. Okay, so first of all, we just want to pop on a bit of a background color. And because we're setting up a template today, I'm just going to keep it quite plain and not use any really out there colors. I'm going to also give you a link that you can download and take this template for yourself afterwards. So you can have this exact template that we're creating here right now to use afterwards. So you can just sit back and watch a couple of the tricks that we're using with Canva here to create this template for you. So I generally like just using the plain text elements, so you can just click on one of those over the side. Another tip for you about getting a text element onto a page is just to press T on your keyboard, and that will pop a little piece of text anywhere onto the page. It usually generally uses your kind of base default font that you've got set up there. If you've got brand fonts, certainly go ahead and use those. Otherwise, just choose a couple of fonts that you like that work together. Today I'm going to use the League Spartan and the Lato. That they look nice together and work well. Just a little bit of a slight complementary feel there. So I'm just going to make, first of all, my title box for the home page. Don't forget this spacing option, which is really nice. I like to just make sure and play around with that when I add text on, because sometimes the default spacing can be a bit far away. So I like to pop that on. Under elements, we're just going to put on an open rectangle. This is a bit of a border around our title that we'll just put on. If you resize from the corner till you get the line size of the font, the width of the line that you want, and then drag and resize using the up or across boxes, that will then give you that line size that you're wanting. And don't forget to use the guides when you're placing a piece of content on a page. The guides will tell you when you've got it centered. I'll just pop that to the back so that then I can get to my text, and that's all good to go. I'll just reuse that for my name down the bottom, and just pop that into uppercase. Maybe we'll bring that down a bit because it's pretty key, but it's not the main thing, which is the title in this instance. So you're seeing we're just creating blocks, and generally once you've got some done in the font or the sizing or colors that you want to use, just copying and replacing to kind of keep that going. Keep building on that and using that as blocks in your template. Okay, so that's our home page pretty much, our title page pretty much done, and we can then pop over to our next page and get that set up. So again, just creating a new page. Because we want the next page to be quite different to this first one, we won't duplicate it. We'll just add a new page at the bottom. It just sometimes brings across the background, but that's okay. We just get rid of that. Now for that header and footer area, it's good to have that on every page. As again, if people print out or somehow get all your pages separated, it's great for them to know who this information has come from and a way to get in contact with you. So firstly, I'd probably like to just repeat the title at the top of my page. So again, just putting in one of those little text boxes just by pressing T, and this would be your lead magnet title. We'll left align that because we'll sit it over to the side of the header, and we'll maybe just make that bold so that it's a nice little size. And again, this won't be the main information that people will want to see when they're reading this, so just think about font sizes that you would use if you were using like creating a Word document or something like that. They wouldn't be huge, humongous. The text blocks I'll probably keep at about a 12, so I might kind of keep the header and footer similar. We'll just copy one now to pop over to the right. So we're just literally just playing with our template here and building up our blocks. So you would just pop in your name there. Okay, so there's my header, and now I'll just copy that to make my footer. Just drag to include any information that you wanted to repeat, and then just use the copy function, and then we'll just bring that down and see how it's lining itself up down the bottom there. In this one, I would just put in your website address, and over this side just pop in the page number. In case you're going to have multiple pages in your lead magnet, it's great to have them numbered. So that's nice and easy. We've got a header, footer, and we could really just leave it like that. Adding text blocks onto the page is an easy enough step for you, just as I was doing before, just by pressing T. I've now got a box of text and I could place that anywhere on the page. But just to complete the template that we looked at before, I'm just going to set up this page together with the headings. I haven't used the Lato as yet, so I'll just use that for the main body of text that I'm adding on, and we'll just left align that. So I'll just line that up with the left hand side of my header. Remember, you'll need to leave some space for printing, and if you wanted the two column look, you can then just copy that block and align it over to the side there. So now you've got a two column kind of look there, and the text that will just expand depending on how much text you have. Now we're going to add that header, the heading style we were looking at. Again, when I'm setting up a template, I'll think about anything that might already be a little bit similar to what I'm trying to create. So in this instance, what I want is some text with a box around it. So from the title page, I'm going to grab those elements, I'm going to just make a copy, and while I still have them selected, I'm going to bring them down onto my second page. I'm going to bring them way down in font size, and I'm also going to bring down my box quite a bit because I don't want it to be too overpowering, and I'll just line that up. Again, we want everything to kind of be nice and aligned. It makes the eyes feel good when they're looking at the page, and it just makes your document nice and professional. So we'll just move that down a little bit. Move this one down. So you're basically just playing now, just working out for yourself what you think will look good on the page. We did have that numbering circle going on, so I'll pop another element onto the page. Now this is entirely up to you. If you want to use some geometrics, just popping a little numbering thing like this is just an easy way to add a little bit of point of difference into your design. So we'll pop that on there. Sometimes you might just want to manually move it up. So once that's in the right spot, I'll just grab another one of these and just change that to be the number. A great tip for when you're wanting to center something is just to make the center, the size, the width, same width as the thing you're wanting to center it in, and then it'll just sit nicely in the middle there. Okay, so now we've got our heading all set up. I'll just make that a little bit bigger, and this would be my heading style. I've got my two content blocks, and if you remember from before, I also had a similar style like this that I was using for the quotation block. So it's nice sometimes to have a call out or a little bit of a quote standing out a bit on your page. So again, I'm going to repeat. I'm just going to, actually while I've got that grouped, I'm just going to I'm just going to literally group that. This grouping option is really good. It lets you move that around the page as one element. And also when something is grouped like this and you add any extra text, it'll just resize itself, and you can also resize the whole thing together as a group like that as well. So I'm just going to kind of reuse this element here as I've got it set up, and we'll just change that up a little bit, and that will now become our quotation block. So we'll pop that on the page as well, and just to make a few edits to it, I will just ungroup it just while we're changing that up a little bit. So for this one, just had just a simple graphical element. I use this search up the side here quite a bit to find the things that I'm looking for, so it's just nice. Whatever you want, you can just do a quick search for. So again, I'll make that white. I'll bring that down so that I can pop it in on top of my circle. So it's kind of got a little bit of a same but different kind of feel going on. And I'll make those a little bit smaller too, so that they aren't as overpowering. Just so that I keep everything aligned, I'll just start with it the same size, group it up, and then use that resizing option. So later on, if I want to put a quote onto the page, I can then just add my text in here. And you can see I can just easily have a nice little call out. I'd probably want to play around with the just the width from the text there. Okay, so great. Now we've got a content page. If we want to make any other pages, we want a different layout, we don't want the 2-column, we can easily just delete that block and just move that block over so that our content will go the whole way across. It just depends on what you're offering to people and how they're going to use it. Another element that I had in my sample was this question and answer kind of option. So this is something that you might frequently want if you're having you're creating a worksheet or something like that for your lead magnet. So to create that, we'll use that same kind of content grouping, which will allow us to create a few elements that we can pop onto the page. So this would be your question, and then underneath that you would want to pop in another element, which was a box. Pop that on, just make it a nice kind of light shade depending on how much you think they're going to write, just letting the guides show you where's a good place to kind of end that. And then as easy as that, we've got a nice question and answer kind of block. I'll group those together. So now when I go in here, I can create my questions and it will just resize itself nicely for me. And if I wanted to make this block here a little bit smaller, I just ungroup that so that I can resize the individual elements. And now I would just repeat that down the page depending on how many questions and answers that you had going on there. So you can see it's nice and easy. Just build up those blocks as you need them, move them around, and but because you have got some base elements set up, you can kind of get a consistent, nice look and feel going on there. Okay, our last page that we're going to set up was our call to action page. So this page goes at the end. Again, I'm going to repeat the header and footer just for consistency basically at this stage. So I'll just copy the previous page and I'll just take off anything that I don't want on this one. So just deleting a couple of those elements that are no longer required. Sorry, the groups, not the elements. So this one here, if we remember what we're talking about, is this just a simple box with a call out, making it nice and easy what you want them to do next, and then another box which has a little frame that you can just drag and drop your picture into at any time. So I'll ungroup this existing set here and get rid of some of the elements that I no longer want, and just readjust the ones that are existing there. So I'm just making a few quick changes So this will just be a block. I'll probably make this a little bit bigger than just my standard text because I do want people to take notice of it when they come to this page. So and within your text block, you can do a couple of little differentiating formats. So you can't change one line as one font and another line as another or size-wise, but you can bold certain parts of your information, which is a little bit tricky to see at this size, but we'll see that second line there is bolded, and we might just pop that in the middle so that it's a link. Now when we want to make something into a link, we will just need to copy the URL of where we want that to go to, and then just select the text, and under this more option you'll see this link. So this is only going to work for things like a PDF, which someone has downloaded and they interact with a little bit online. So if you just paste in your link here, or type it in if you know it, and then just click apply, you won't be able to test it here within Canva, but when you download it as a PDF, you'll be able to test and make sure the link works correctly for you. Now the last thing we want to do is that call to action. So again, I'll just group that and then make a copy of it so that I can bring it down the bottom, have some consistency, but still kind of make it just a little bit different based on what I want to pop into this one. So just ungrouping it, I'm going to just give this a kind of put my picture space on the left and just pop the text over to the right. So I've just got a slight lag there with my internet, but we'll go from this side and see how that happens. How that works. So we'll have this over the side, and this will just be a little bit about you. Hi, I'm Nadine. This is what I do. This is why you should be interested in me, and this is how you can get in contact with me if you want to know further. So those are a couple of nice little things to pop in there. You can get some social media icons hit right here in Canvas. So if, again, I just like to do a nice little search. So depending on what platforms that you are active on and that you want people to connect with you on, you can just grab a couple of icons for those. I'm going to just pop in Facebook and Instagram. Now they'll just pop those, they're in here at kind of default colors, but you can change those as well. If you've got an item selected and it has a little color changer box up the top there, you can always change the colors of anything. Just want to make sure these two are kind of the same. You'll see as I'm resizing, it gives me the size on the side there, so I'll just make these the same, just be kind of tricky. Okay, and then I'll just change those both to be a bit of a different colour. Now I'll group those and pop them down into my box, and again I would make those linkable. So selecting each of those elements, I would pop in a link to my Instagram page and also to my Facebook page. Now the last thing that we're going to pop in is a little frame. So frames are great. They give you a bit of a shape, and you can drag in any images into them, and the image will kind of resize and be contained within the actual frame itself. So that's kind of a nice little element that I like using. So under elements, go into frames and just scroll down until you find the one that you're looking for. You can see these ones, see they have, you could put 4 different pictures in, or 3, just have different looks depending on what you're trying to create. But I'm just going to look for a nice, just a simple circle that can pop in. It again repeats the circle icon element that I've been using on my headings. So it gives that nice kind of consistency again, and I'll just kind of resize it based on how I want that to look. And now you'll see if I went into my uploads and got a picture, I can just drag it over and see when I drop it on top of the frame, it just pops it inside. Now if I want to do a little bit of filtering or cropping of that, I can just, those options are available for me, so I can resize within reason depending on what the size of the original photo was. But you can see it showing me what's going to show inside the frame and what will be outside. So it's nice and easy to use, and it's good. It's a good placeholder because it allows you to then easily, swap that out for somebody else. So it's nice and simple to do. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's our template created. Now all we need to do once we want to come and use it again is to make a copy and change up those elements based on what our current lead magnet would be. So I would name this, so in your title you could just name it something like lead magnet template. Save that, and then next time you want to create a new lead magnet, open it up and just do File, Make a Copy, and then just go and make the changes that you want to do. For example, such as this one here that I had created. So once you've finished then creating your lead magnet and putting all your content into it, and you could just copy and paste this from wherever else you've got that created already. You then just use this download option, and under download it should automatically suggest PDF for you since it's an A4 sheet, but just make sure that it is a PDF that you are downloading, and I would go for this print, PDF print. That's what it recommends, and that will probably give you the nicer version for your audience member to download. One of the reasons that we just use this simple, quite plain layout for our lead magnet is because not everyone has fancy printers or wants to spend a lot of money printing out ink or spend a lot of money on ink printing out your lead magnet. So if you have a lead magnet that has lots of beautiful pictures and that kind of thing, it can be a bit of a drain for people to want to print out themselves. So just by using a quite simple design, keep it nice and easy, they stay focused on what they should be doing with the lead magnet, and they can just print it out at home for not too much cost themselves. Of course, if your lead magnet is something a little bit more fancy, might be like a recipe book, or maybe it is a full-blown ebook, then you might want to consider using something that's a little bit more special. And that's where some of those layouts that we looked at the start could come in, that you can have a look at those and see some of the layout options that they have there for the different title pages and sections and that kind of thing. So we would just download it as a full PDF. If you only wanted a couple of the pages for a specific lead magnet, remember you can just download those specific pages. The last thing that I would mention to you for saving is that it's a good idea to put some of your information also into the name, because when your reader downloads the lead magnet, the file name that you save the document with will default for them as the name that they will save the document with. So give them a little head start by just renaming that document. Put your business name, for example, at the start. This is just a nice little tip. So if they download other lead magnets of yours, they will kind of all group together, and then just let them know, just a little brief, what the name of the actual lead magnet document was. And that's it. So now you've got a nice PDF document version of your lead magnet. You can upload it to your website where your readers will now be able to view it and download it, and that they will be able to give you your email, their email address, so that you can now have them on your list and they can take away your lead magnet and use it, and it will be completely beneficial for them. Okay, so as I said, you can take a copy of this lead magnet. Just see the link below that you can download, and just like I did back there in Canva, just take a copy of it and reuse it for your own purposes, and I hope that helps you out. Thank you very much.